live coaching. I'm a little bit late. I just got home. I was in Berlin for the birthday party of a good friend's child, Paul, actually, who was one of my co-hosts in the beginning of this live coaching project. And yeah, so we went for his kid's birthday, and I literally just got in the door. My wife is still taking the kids out of the car and booted up the the live streaming to get going. So anyway, pardon that we're a little late. I was interesting. Someone at the party was telling me that they took the tax course and that it really helped their tax, and that feedback is always nice. It's cool, when I put something out like the tax course. I don't really know what's going to happen. I don't know how people are going to receive it, how it's going to work, but the feedback is overwhelmingly positive, that it leads to change, it leads to improvement in the tax. And yeah, I'm so happy about that. And it's funny because you might say, "Oh, didn't you expect that to be the case?" And I really didn't expect. I really had no idea what to expect. I hoped that would be the case, but I didn't know it, and so I'm really happy that that exists out there, so that you people can improve their tax. And you might think, "Oh, tax, why does it matter about tax?" But in order to really get the most out of your wave sailing sessions, the tack is a key move because it allows you to stay upwind. It allows you to catch the waves you want to catch. Um, it allows you to turn around really quickly, more quickly than a jibe. It's a better light wind option as well. The tack is really key for uh, expanding your horizons as a wave sailor. Um, and I mean, it helps even if you're not a wave sailor, but especially if you are a wave sailor, the tack is really fundamental, really, really fundamental. I can't stress that enough. And we have the tack course on windsurfingmasterclass.com. I'm just going to share. This is some old Hokipa footage um, that for some reason was saved in my streaming. So I figured, well, might as well start it. We've got Suna in the chat. Next weekend looks promising. I know I might make it up there. So who's going to make it up to Handsome this weekend if the forecast holds? Because the forecast does look really good. I'm thinking of coming up if it holds. So who else is going to be there? We got Suna. Tomas says new gear arrived on time. Some waves. Awesome. Eric says no sailing this week, but Flaka time tomorrow. I'm going to mention the Flakas in a second. Flakas. Jorg says focus more on the upwind 360s for the Flakas. Beach Bum Extraordinaire says that the tack is the most important technique. Yeah, fully agree. I fully agree. Ragnar booked 2 weeks in Gran Canaria and has been working on some other things, non-planing. Awesome. And Eric wants to know when Ragnar's in Gran Canaria. I happen to know the answer to that, end of July. All right, I'm going to load up, get my screen shared, and all that good stuff. Oh, we got Harold. Harold's a legend. Harold's been doing his rehab for his injury. And Harold's also part, Windsurfing Masterclass, we've got all of these different sections. My vision for Windsurfing Masterclass was to really help people get off the plateau. So the slogan is get off the plateau. And what that means is, keep your life improving. And hold on, I've got to customize my screen. And so one of the things that we started pretty recently is we have a training group, and it's super cool because the Sorry, I'm just adjusting this. I don't know why it changed. Uh, we have a training group, so there's just a few people in the moment, but I work with sports scientist Cedric, and I've had him on the stream a few times. I bring him in for some of the master classes, the in-person master classes, and we set up some workshops, Zoom workshops for people in the in-person master classes, and then those people could opt in as well to some private training, which also is what I do, right? Cedric creates training programs for me, and we have WhatsApp groups and communities for that, and it's so beneficial. Harold is a member of one of those communities, and yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see. I had this rough vision for Windsurfing Masterclass as a way to help people, not just bottom turn better, but to have also better lives. And of course, windsurfing is an integral part of that, but it's also things all outside of windsurfing. It's the mental side, it's the physical side. And so it was really cool to have, um, have this really happen with the training groups. We got Andre in Costa Rica. Awesome. All right. So, a couple quick things. So, we were talking about tax at the beginning. Tax are super duper important. So, if you want to brush up on your tax, you go to windsurfingmasterclass.com. You go enter the Masterclass learning portal, and you can sign up for Fast Tax Secrets. And it's been pretty awesome. People that take the course improve their tax. They go from 2 out of 10 to 8 out of 10, 3 out of 10 to 7 out of 10. There's serious improvement, 0 out of 10 to 7 out of 10. So it works. It's great. It's cool. Now, also on windsurfingmasterclass.com are our in-person masterclasses. So if you want to join an in-person week, which is really cool for not just the coaching that you get, but also the sense of community is really one of the great benefits of these classes, the social benefit. So we've got a week in Morocco, 15th to the 21st, and then Gran Canaria. And then one last course as well. We got a lot of action on courses, and that is for the Flaka. And some of you guys have already signed up. There's a deadline to sign up. So what is a Flaka? This is a Flaka. That's what a Flaka looks like. And I'm going to be teaching a course. It's going to be taught on Zoom. So the Flaka is one of the hardest courses the Flaka is one of the hardest moves to learn. It's incredibly difficult. And so it's not the kind of move that fits really well in a pre-recorded course. And so this one is going to be taught on Zoom and WhatsApp. And we've done other courses like this before. Some of the other courses started out like that. Like, for example, the TAC course started out like that. And so it's a format that I like. And yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a challenge. And even if you don't get the flockas at the end of the 3 months, you will have moved towards getting them, know what you need to do in order to get them, and have improved your windsurfing skills and fundamentals for sure. The way I like to make these courses is we have exercises to help build up. Your building blocks. We got steps, and then also dry land exercises. So even if there's no wind, you've got something that you can do, or a light wind, you've got something that you can do on the water. Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting. So if you want to sign up, find this post. I'll do another post in the group after the live stream. But basically, you just go to the application, fill out the form. Not everyone that applies is going to get in, but that shouldn't stop you from applying. All right. So that's all of our housekeeping. Let's get into the group. So something that was brought up to me before is that sometimes my face covers the relevant information. If that's the case, let me know in the chat. And if you're just joining us, say hi in the chat. We are live. So Andre is asking what medium we use. So the training group, so I assume you're talking about not the Flaka course, but the training group. And so that is on WhatsApp primarily. It's primarily on WhatsApp. And so there's like the guys get the workouts, and then there's a community on WhatsApp, and then they can film themselves and they put it in the chat, and then the coach critiques the form and everything. He answers questions, um, and I think that there's the option for occasional Zooms if needed, but primarily it's through WhatsApp. And I'm in one of those groups. I'm not so like the I am in that main group. My training program's a bit different, but so I'm not. Uh, my training is not in that group. But anyway, the point is like it's pretty active. So there's like tons and tons of messages every day. You guys can't really see it from my phone. As the guys are figuring out the workouts and whatever, it's a pretty awesome service from Cedric that he's offering. You can really learn a lot. So it's cool. We are going to do if this is something that you're interested in, because I was so happy with how well this whole thing was working, that we're going to do another kind of version of this for everyone. So the first group was just for people who are in the in-person masterclass for Morocco, and we're going to do another version that's just open to everyone. So if you if you wanna if you wanna join, look out for that. We'll probably do a Zoom workshop that's free and open to everyone in 2 weeks, and I'll post that in the Facebook group, and I'll mention the date also next week, Sunday. But also important, if you want to get in the Flaka group, I'm going to post the link in the group. You can find it otherwise. And I'll post on my YouTube as well. I've also posted on my Instagram. So you can find it. Even if you're not on Facebook, you can find it. But I'll post it again. The Flaka group is going to be pretty good. I'm looking forward to it. All right, let's get into it. Enough admin. You guys can interrupt me whenever you want. I'm going to get into the Facebook post. So this is from Dana Miller. Dana is an American windsurfing legend. He used to spend time on Maui. Now he's based on the Oregon coast. And if you don't know, the Oregon coast is one of the best windsurfing spots in the world. And if you want proof, here you go. Here's some footage. So this is from JP Bowles tearing it up. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Awesome. It's so much fun. I'm thinking of maybe doing coaching here next summer, possibly next summer. So if you're interested, if you want to come over from Europe, or if you live in the States and you're interested in exploring the Oregon coast, it's something that I'm interested in doing a small group coaching. We got G Luke on Maui. Yeah, G Luke is on Maui. Yeah, and we've got the Flaka course coming up. That's, I guess, admin wise, the only thing with a deadline from my side. All right. First post is from Leo. Leo is a buddy of mine from Germany. He's on Maui. And yeah, this is, I think, his first post in the group. So let's make this full screen. Well, that didn't work. Sometimes this doesn't work. Why does that not work? All right. Come on. Come on. What's going on here? Pump up the quality. All right. So Leo has been, this is his second time to Maui, and so he's a lot more comfortable than his first time. And let's go through the clips first, and then I'm gonna offer my coaching on them. I think it's better to get an overview of everything. Before I start talking about. Yes, this is Hokipa, classic Hokipa, kind of on the smaller side. Classic, fun windsurfing. All right, we've got one more clip. More clips. Make it full screen. Boom! Look at that. That's what we want to see. So the reason that I'm watching all these clips before I give an opinion on any of them is because what I've noticed and seen is that people will love to comment on their best clips or comment on their worst clips. And actually, neither of those is really helpful. You want to do your coaching, your self coaching on mainly the average clip. Like there are just times where it won't work. You just crash, you get a chop, or maybe you're on the wrong wave, but 90% of the session you're on the right wave. You don't need to fix that because okay, that was a little bit off, but you know what to do. And so we all have off moments, and we don't have to dwell on those. There's no coaching like for the bottom 20%. I mean, if it's something that recurs and recurs and recurs, then yeah, look into it. If it's something that over time is really causing an issue. But if it's one session and you have one issue where it doesn't work, but the rest of the session was great, it's just variance. Something went wrong with your body. It doesn't matter, ignore it. And same for the best stuff. Like if you have your best off the lip ever and it's still not perfect because you're not Jason Polikow, don't dwell on it. It doesn't matter. What you want to do is just try and do that again. So for your best stuff, your best, let's call it 15%, you just want to do more of that. And so it's just about chasing that feeling. It's not about trying to analyze it, anything until that top 15% is somewhere like your middle 70%, where you're doing it really repeatedly, and then you want to improve, and then we can start looking at it. So, just to recap, top 15%, you're just trying to do more of that. So it's not about trying to do it better. It's not trying to analyze it to death. We want to get your middle part, like what you're doing most of the session, to that level, right? So you're just trying to do more of that. Then the bottom 15%, just throw it out. It's just variance. It just happens. Sometimes there's chops, sometimes you're tired, sometimes you're just not focused. Sometimes like just throw it out. Analyzing it to death doesn't matter unless, and maybe it's something that is maybe 15% of a single section, but it's 15% of every session, then it's something that we can start looking at. So like for example, let's say that it's you fall on 15% of your tax. Now that means that you're making 8.5 out of 10 tax. That's pretty good. Now, if you have one session where that's the case and all your other sessions are 9 or 10 out of 10 tax, I would say forget about it. You don't have to worry. But if you're stuck at 8.5 out of 10 tax, and so you fall on 15% of your tax, and that's causing you to miss waves over time, not just in a single session, then it's like, okay, let's get those last few percentage points on your tax. You're going to get more waves because of it. And that is something then to work on. But if we're just looking at individual sessions and it's not something that is an issue over multiple sessions, throw it out. Okay. So that's a long spiel, but it's important because I see people do the opposite. I see them try to analyze the top 15 and the bottom 15% a lot, and those don't need to be analyzed. It's good to watch them. It's good to watch, especially the top 15%, because you want to emulate it. You want to try and copy it. You want the rest of your session to be up there. But mainly, we want to be looking at that middle 70, that middle 50% of what you're doing, so that then we can bring that up to your highest level, and then keep going higher and higher and higher. All right, we got Mateo in the chat. Ciao, ciao, ciao. All right, let's watch the clips from Leo with what I just said in mind. All right, pumping to get speed. I like to see it. Yeah. Okay, so This wave, I feel like there's not that much to analyze. It's kind of a funky little wave, going a little bit early, gets caught up on that first section. It's a whitewater wave. Um, there's really not a lot to say on this. I think two things that I would say is you want to try to avoid waves that are whitewater waves for two reasons. One, they're hard to read. Two, actually, there's three reasons. So one, that they're hard to read. There's something that happens with the light. So it's similar to skiing above or below the tree line. So if you ski above the tree line, the light gets flat and it's hard to see um, as well to the terrain. And if you're skiing under the tree line where there are trees, it's a lot easier to see the terrain. And something similar happens with whitewater waves, where just the way that the light works, it's really hard to read the wave. Also, they can be more bumpy. And then also, lastly, because they have air in them, they can cause you to spin out. So those are three reasons to avoid whitewater waves. On this cutback, nice timing in the critical part of the wave, can stay on the heels longer. So you kind of come off the heels early in the turn, and I would like to see that really committed in a hard carving cutback that does a C shape here. So instead of coming sort of like a line down the wave, doing a C shape in the wave, if that makes sense. All right, we got Matt joining us as well. Matt is going to be in Morocco for the masterclass, and he's also in. We were talking about the fitness group. He's also in that group, which is cool. And like I said, I think we're going to open it up. Not the same group, but we're going to open up a second group for people that are interested in that kind of private fitness coaching. So look out for that. I think we'll do it in a couple weeks. The first Zoom, and that will be open to everyone, just an open workshop. All right, let's watch the next wave from Leo. Let's make it full screen. Quality fell off again. Come on, my internet should be pretty good. German internet's not the best. Okay, so what I want to see here, and long time watchers of the live coaching are going to know what I'm going to say, is I want to see you hit it. I want to see you get that high five. And so instead of turning under the lip and doing the work of doing the turn yourself, I want to see you hit that section, hit this corner pocket. It's the perfect section to hit, and you'll come out with a lot of speed. And if you had done that, then you would have speed and be ready to hit this next section. But because you didn't, then you end up late for the next section. So you come under it and you kind of stop and you have to get yourself going again. You're just a little bit late for this next section. Whereas if you projected out of this lip, you would have the speed possibly to hit that little section there. Um, I think there's a lot that's right going on here. More to think about the the timing and the placement. There's a little bit of fundamental in that, because I can see that Leo is doing a lot of work to beat the comeback here. And as I say a lot, the bottom turn is your job. The cutback is the wave's job. So ideally, you want doing the work so that the in the bottom turns, then the wave does a really great off the. So let's watch this one. And so this is a good example of this is the perfect example. So this is what I mean when I'm saying, we don't want to analyze this to death. Yeah, sure, there's things you can do a little bit better. That you're sheeting in a little bit too much off the top, which causes your body to get pulled upright rather than staying on the rail. But in general, this is awesome. This is freaking awesome. This is what you want to be doing. This is what you want to be aiming for. This is what you want to copy. You don't want to analyze this. You just want to copy it. And so what I love about this is you're coming up into this corner pocket, right? This is the corner pocket in front of you. You're getting that high five, the board right there in the lip. And then look, you're doing the work to get into this position. And then the wave does the rest of it. There's very little effort in your body from this moment on. And that's how it should be. And so if we compare, like, I don't know if you guys can all see that. I can see it really clearly. Like, okay, here there's a lot of work, but from this moment on, kind of moving on. And then boom, you get all that projection, all that wonderful speed. It's like just awesome. So this is what we want to do more of. And um, if we look at like this example where you're doing a lot of work in the cutback, um, we want sound quality is going up and down. We had this issue before. We had this issue before and we fixed it. We had this issue before and we fixed it. How did we do that? I'm not sure. I don't know if it's a bandwidth issue. I've had so many issues with German internet that what I have now is like a SIM card in a wireless router, which is supposed to be pretty fast. I've got Starlink on Maui, and that's very fast, and maybe that's what I need to get here too. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's a bandwidth issue or if it's a settings issue. Hopefully, hopefully it's better. Um, we've got one more clip from Leo, and then all right, we've got one more. This last one. So I'm going to play it and then talk about it. So this is another one that I really like, and it's not as radical as the one that we just saw, but it's the same concept. Coming up, getting that high five, corner pocket, getting the projection. You see there's very little work that needs to be done. My only comment on this is it could be a little bit placed differently. So it could be on this part of the section, which that other grade off the lip we saw was in a more similar section to that. So the main thing is about looking for those corner pockets, putting your board in that high five position, and getting those off the lips, and not doing a ton of extra work. All right, next up, we've got a pretty interesting. I'm just gonna do one thing just to see if it's a bandwidth issue. Hold on, just give me 1 second. All right, guys, I'm back. I just moved the wireless router. See if that helps. All right, so we've got a good discussion from Marco, and he's posted this photo of Parco bottom turning and talking about weight distribution. And he's talking about how the front leg, he's talking about the back foot, what's going on. He's looking at how the knee is driving forward and talking about if that helps the bottom turn, should we do that in windsurfing? So I think you should never try to do this in surfing or windsurfing. Dropping the knee inward reduces the power that you're applying to the rail. And I think it's not a good habit to pull photos either from surfing or windsurfing out of context and then extrapolate rules from them. If you're looking at maybe a million photos or 100 photos, 1,000 photos, whatever the number is, some large quantity, maybe, but we really don't want to be looking at photos in isolation. We want to be looking at them in the context of what the turn actually looks like. So we want to see it with a video. And so something that I'm looking at when I look at this wave is it's not very powerful. This is not a very powerful wave. It's not a very bowly wave. There's a lot of chop on the surface. It's not very clean. He's not very much on the rail. And when you drop that knee inward, like more of a lunge position than a squat position, it reduces the amount of pressure that you're applying to the rail. And that can be something you want. So maybe in these kind of conditions, you don't want to be fully committed to the rail like this. You want to be more flat. And maybe if you're tube riding, you want to be more flat. There are times where you want to be more centered and you don't want to be applying that pressure to the rail. But 9 out of 10 times for what you're doing, you want to be applying more pressure. Now, that doesn't mean that this will never come up, but we want it to come up when your body is figuring out its own way to get the board in the position you want it to get in. So in the comments, there's another photo that's posted of so like here's another surfing one. I really like this is more the position you want to be in with your knees lined up with the toes, not dropping in. There's a photo of Kaileni that was posted where he is really dropping the knees. But this, again, out of context, doesn't really tell us a lot because, okay, he's not very much on the rail. We don't know what the wave was like before. We don't know what it's like here. My read of this photo is he's trying to fit himself into a space kind of unnaturally. There's something else going on, and his body is configured to get the outcome that he wants. So trying to get the board in the high five position in the lip, which should be your main focus. And when we talk about technique, it's to help us get there. But we don't, sometimes we want to adjust our form because we need to hustle and bustle to get to that next session, or maybe there's chop in the way, or maybe the wave or something with the shape of the wave that we're trying to go more down the line rather than doing that hard carving turn. And we're gonna be a little bit different in our form than the ideal form. But if, the original question was about looking at surfers, if you look at the best bottom turns from surfers, so if you look at Kelly Slater, John Florence, and you look at their best bottom turns, they are square. So I looked at some footage because I was curious after this, and I should post it in the comments. I'll find it and post it in the comments. But you can really see, especially with John, it's amazing how square everything is. There's no knee bend inward at all. The 90s from the ankle, and just straight knees pointing to toes, hips pointing to knees, and just beautiful hard carving. And that's how you get the best bottom turns. We got Christoph in the chat. Hello, Christoph. All right, moving on. So Andre has been working on his forward loops. I've been working on my forward loop course. Hopefully that comes out soon. And these are the shots from the week. It looks like he does the basics, but he could do everything more. He could move the mast more to the front, pull the sail, hand in more, look over the shoulder much, and jump off the wind more. Any ideas? He doesn't really know what to implement. Usually he lands windsurf mode moves if he knows how it has to feel done correctly. So should sign up for the forward loop course when it comes out. But we're going to talk about this before. So can you guys, is this a good, yeah, let's watch it like this. All right. All right, so really good effort. You're getting the rotation. I love to see that. I love to see the effort. I love to see the rotation. This is way more than half the battle. So I'm going to tell you, let's say 2 things. I don't want to overload you. The first is you're leaning back a lot. So I can tell from the way your camera is positioned that you're really leaning back. When you launch for the forward, you want to be upright. You don't want to be leaning back and pulling in on the sail. You want to be upright and fairly neutral with the sail. So really thinking about standing tall. So the way that we talked about it in the previous forward loop courses that I've done is you go from small to tall to ball, small to tall to ball. And then you want to make sure that the nose of your board is pointing downwind before you're sheeting in, so that the nose of the board actually gets pointed downwind before you pull in. And you use your toes to scissor your legs, and you use your mast to push on the mast track to get the nose downwind. I've got some dryland exercises for this that will be in the forward loop course. But if you just think about that as well, I know, Andre, you said that thinking about it is also really important for you. So like getting that mast into the wind and using it to push the nose downwind, and also scissoring your feet, your legs, to get the nose downwind before you pull in is going to make a big difference. And as well as taking off standing upright. Okay, you guys let me know, is the sound okay now? So same. This, you're leaning back a lot, like you're almost horizontal. Again, you want to be upright. You want to be upright, and then you pull back, and then you pull back. You don't go forward. It's not a somersault. You're not going forward with your body, but you need to jump off upright and then pull it to spin back. So you have to take off upright. And so it looks like this one. Let's watch it. Yeah, this one you're not getting rotation. It's because you're leaning way, way, way too back. So we really want to take off upright, get the sail to windward, push the nose downwind, and then pull in. Will make a big difference. So this is more upright. More upright, and you're getting more rotation. But the board is trailing instead of leading the rotation. You really want the board in the beginning to lead the rotation. So good job gripping wide, more upright. But then here, you want to use your legs instead of pulling this back leg up. So you're like tucking it up there. You want to pull it up behind you and push the front leg down. And so then you're getting the nose pointed really far downwind. We're gonna watch the last one, but Andre, the two things that I've already said are gonna be game changers and enough to focus on for your next session. And then I would love to see where you are. So this one actually, there's another issue. Um, and so watch. I wonder if you guys in the chat can see it. So we're gonna watch this. I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna pause it here, and I'm gonna play it. And then we're going to go talk about some other things. And I want you guys in the chat to tell me what you think is going wrong here, because I don't think anyone's going to get it. But that doesn't matter. Like, it's about trying, not about getting it right. So like I say, you should judge your sessions not on how many times you don't fall, but how many times you go for it. So it's not about how many times you get it right. It's about how many times you go for it. And this is a good example. So we're going to play this, and then I want to hear what you guys think is going wrong. So tell me what you guys think is going wrong there, and then we're going to come back to it. So mention it in the chat. All right, so just saying it again, this is my Flaka, and I'm going to teach a Flaka course. It's the applications close on I think they close on the 29th, so that we can start in May. So applications will close on, the deadline to apply is the 29th. So then we can start in May, early May, start pretty much as soon as possible. Just get the group together, and then we can start. So if you want a Flaka, now's the time. All right, Jeff says, I was sitting around recently when I had this epiphany about loading or unloading the sail in the apex of the bottom turn. It suddenly dawned on me that if you want to rail over as hard as possible, you basically need to have the sail neutral at that moment, or else you need to lean on it, back on it to keep your balance. And if you lean back against the sail, you lose the board angle. So this is interesting. I think it depends when you define the apex of the turn, which is that something that is hard to define? Maybe not. If we're thinking of it like a U, so then it's the moment where, like, the apex of that U, in which case, is the sail fully loaded? think yes and no, because there's a moment in the best bottom turns where then you're really sheeting out as you're coming back up the wave. And so the sail can still be loaded, but it's in the process of unloading. So the most load of the sail is more in the first quarter of the bottom turn. And then the sail is still loaded, but it's changing the way it's loaded as your angle to the wind is changing. Um, yeah, so Greg is saying about opening the clue. I wonder if I have video that I could play, if I could find something to show an example. Uh, hmm. I'm gonna have to post something here. But it's really interesting to think about. I think the most important thing though is not thinking too much about the sail and thinking about your body. And then you can look around the clue of the sail. So what you don't want to do is be, if your head is here looking way down here, you want to be looking here. In order to do that, you're gonna have to open up the sail at some point. All right, next up, we've got this video from Mateo. And so here's the context. So let's pause it. Listen to read this. So everyone, um, float and ride day, side on shore wind. Got some advice to upgrade his overall wave riding. He's working on wave 360s, but falling off the back of the wave. Yeah, wave 360s. You also need a pretty powerful wave, and so if it's really mushy and onshore, it's going to be tricky for wave 360s. There we go. That's a corner pocket section. That's what we like to see. We're gonna get another one. Looks like you were stoked on that. That little uh, pump on the sail. Normally something that comes after something we're stoked about. We're gonna get another one. Yeah. Okay. I gotta watch this a little bit more closely. Uh, there's a lot that I like. There's more that I like than is wrong. Something is going on with the cutbacks, and I think it's that you're sheeting in too much. And in general, you want to leave the sail really open. So you want to be really shooting out more on the cutback, and that allows you to stay on the rails and drive the board around in the cutback. Because I think if you sheet in, it pulls you upright, which pulls you off the cutback rail. And so trying to really hang low, get your butt low, try and get your butt in the water and not sheet in, it's going to make a big difference because you're setting up well, you're in a lot of the right places, but like this is kind of example, like that little sheet in there pulls you down the line. If you're trying to do aerials, that's maybe a start. But or just really radical off the lip and cutbacks, you don't want to be so upright. You want to get your butt low and really leave the sail open and hang from the boom or kind of leave the boom above you. So like this amount of sheeting in is too much, and that keeps you upright and stops you from being able to really drive that rail. That's why the board's split out there because um, when you're upright, it like pulls it flat and then it slides rather than carve. And so same thing here. This is like beautiful corner pocket. I mean, again, there's way more right than wrong. Like you're getting the high five, but again, kind of upright and pulling in the sail. And if you're really hanging your butt low and keeping the sail open, you're going to do a beautiful carving off the lip there. So I would say that is one big thing to work on, and then keep sending us footage, Mateo. I love watching your footage. Um, all right, so this is from David, and it was taken um, by his 9-year-old son. Whoa, cool. Let's watch it. All right, your 9-year-old did a good job filming. Okay, so this is another example of the sheeting in on the cutback. So you can see coming up, pulling in the sail, and it's fighting that rail. So you're trying to carve on the rail, but when you pull in like this, it stops the board from doing that carve. Whereas if you shoot out and get low, like keep your butt low, uh, it will really allow you to carve around. It's more of a setup turn. There's not much to talk about there. Um, I like these it's kind of soul carvy turns. Now this kind of whitewater, this is what we talked about. Want to avoid whitewater. Okay, so this one, um, David, you are good enough to hit this section, so you can hit the whitewater. I mean, that's radical, but I would love to see you hit the lip. That I love the timing on that. I like the timing. This is really in the pocket. But again, it's being upright and pulling in the sail on the cutback. That's stopping you from doing more of a hard carve. If you're really letting the sail out and not shooting in on the cutback, really focusing on being on the heels, is going to make a big difference. It's going to make a really, really big difference. Your 9-year-old did a good job filming this. Your 9-year-old did a good job filming this. Again, with the shooting in, I mean, I like that turn, but it'd be better without the shooting in. Boom! Oh yeah, I love it. I love it. I love going for it. Again, judge your sessions not by how often you get it right, but by how often you go for it. And this is definitely going for it. If you would have held on, I know it's scary, but you would have made this. You're doing way more right than not. You're a little bit late, but you do a good job getting that high five, getting the board in the position. And so if you just stay low on the knees, get your butt low, the wave will just push you forward. You'll be totally fine. Standing up, which is what you're used to because you're used to shooting in off the top, does make it more of like a wild bucking bronco ride. I think if you hadn't bailed, you still would have made it. Like you set it up correctly. You set it up correctly, and I love that you're going for it. So do more of that. Even though you fall, that's a win. That's a win. In my book, that's a win. That's going for it. That's a success. And so if that's the only time you did that in the session, even though it's a crash, that's the best part of the session. So definitely try to go for it. Oh, but you did go for it again. And so this time you held on, got the high five. I love it. I want to see more going for it. So if you've got the level to hit these lips, I want to see that on every wave. That's awesome. And it's again just about getting that placement and timing. So my two main comments from this session are on the cutbacks, focusing on keeping the sail open and the butt low, so you don't want to sheet in off the top, and then hitting it, just going for it is awesome. Um, all right, we already talked about this footage from Ragnar, and we are caught up. So that means that we're going to go back to this last loop. And so some we had some comments, what guesses. So by the way, so Andre, who's the one in the loop, says, oh no, he doesn't have a guess here what he did wrong, but he did say he emailed me. I didn't get it, Andre. I didn't get an email from you. Can you email me again? I'll check my spam folder, but yeah, I didn't get it. I didn't get it. And then Ragnar says going upwind, and yeah, that's not it. I'm gonna go through it now. Dana Miller, we got the legend in the chat. Says that he looks forward, hopefully, if we can see each other next summer. I would love that. I'd love to take my family up there too. I have so many good memories. It's such a beautiful part of the world. I'd love to show my kids, and yeah, be back there. The Oregon coast is one of the most beautiful places in the world. All right, so let's watch what's going on here. So what happens? What goes wrong? And this is something that people are not going to see, but it is very common and something that you really want to look out for. So what happens is, Andre, you hit this chop and it throws you off. So then your board is no longer in control. You have this like funky moment, and then before you can fully recover, you hit the next one. And we want to make sure that when we're going for forwards, especially when we're learning them, like maybe it's different if you're Marsilio Brown and you're in a World Cup heat for the world title and you just have to do a forward and you have 2 seconds left and it's not perfect and you make it work and that's what makes you a world champion. But every other time, and especially when you're learning, you want to make sure that your board is settled, that you're in control, everything is perfect. And so if you hit a little chop like this, you don't want to just go off the next one right away, because then you're not centered, you're thrown off balance. So you can see, like, you hit this chop, like things really move around. And you like kind of try to get recovered again, but don't fully get in position. So you like kind of, we can see you sort of land there, and it kind of throws you off a bit, and then you start kind of moving to get in position again. But you're already thrown off. And then otherwise, the two main things that we talked about before: standing upright off the takeoff, and then getting the nose to lead, the board nose to lead the rotation. Use your legs and your mast to do that. And I've got some good exercises for that too. I'm going to check my spam folder, but also reach out to me again. And then, yeah, if you guys want to join the Flaka course, I will post it again in the Facebook group. I'll also post it on YouTube as a post. So like there's a section to do posts, like not videos, just posts on YouTube, and I'll post it there. So if you're not on Facebook, check there. And then it also is already posted on my Instagram. It's the link. There's a link to it in my profile, so you can find it pretty easily if you want to join the Flaka course. And the deadline for that is April 29th, so in 2 days, because I want to get it going. It's a live course. It's not a pre-recorded course. It's going to be over Zoom and WhatsApp, and I want to get it going. I want to start in May as soon as possible. So we got to get applications done and people signed up. All right. Otherwise, if you want to join an in-person masterclass, you can go to windsurfingmasterclass.com and go to apply here. And we've got 2 weeks. Also Maui. This one I haven't been talking about because the dates aren't confirmed. It's going to be in September. A bunch of people have signed up and I haven't replied to you, and I will. But just because the dates are not settled, I've been trying to figure out exactly when I can leave Europe, which is just a limiting factor. But it'll be in September, and I've just got to make sure that I can get to Maui early enough to get it set up. Anyway, that is that, and I think we're all caught up. And so I'm gonna say good night, good day. I hope it's windy. I hope you have a windy week. I'll see you next week, Sunday. If you want to sign up for any of these things, I encourage you to do that now. The sooner the better. Look out for the fitness workshop. We're going to do that not this coming week, the week that starts tomorrow, but the week after that. And it's open to everyone. And then from there, if you want, so then you can ask your questions. It's going to be really good Zoom workshops. And then if you want to join some of the fitness coaching, there's going to be an option too that will be presented to the people in that workshop. Cool. All right, guys. I am signing off. I hope you have a